Well, the first thing I would do is I would, the way we have to go about cost reduction, I talk about three things, right? Creating jobs in California, cutting government spending. You probably heard my ads.
Yeah, I've seen them once or twice today.
And the way I want to take apart the cost structure of the government is first, you've heard me talk about downsizing, right-sizing the state government by 40,000 people, because that's where we were just 5 years ago. And that's when the general fund revenues were about $85 billion. So I think we need to get back down there. Then we have to reform welfare. We have 12% of the population in the United States, 32% of the welfare cases. We have twice the population of New York, but 5 times the welfare cases. And most states have a 2-year lifetime of benefits. We have 5 years, but we actually don't even enforce that. So I'd like to enforce the 5-year lifetime benefit level and then move to the 2-year benefit level.
If you take those people off welfare, where do they get jobs in this economic environment?
Well, you know what? One of the things that has to combine with my jobs program of creating 2 million jobs. And that's going to come across a wide swath of sectors. And the way we're going to do that is, first and foremost, we're going to do my targeted tax cuts. Because what I want to do, and I think you've heard me talk about this, Carla, I want to look at everything through one lens. Does it create jobs in California? Does it keep jobs in California? And, you look at what has happened to manufacturing in this state. We've lost 600,000 manufacturing jobs since 2000, 32% of the economic base in California, which is why I want to eliminate what we call the factory tax, which is that manufacturers have to pay a sales tax in California today on the equipment they use to manufacture. So let's get hiring going. Let's cut government spending, and we'll come back to, I think you may want to follow up to that question. Yeah. Cut government spending, and then we'll turbocharge the economy by doing an across-the-board tax cut. So let me come back to him first, because I don't think you got the whole answer to your question.
So what specifically, some programs, some lines that you'd like?
Well, so first is welfare, second is pensions, because there is a current period cost of pensions, and that current period cost is only going to increase. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you saw the other day, this was not good news, that CalPERS and CalSTRS are probably going to take down their return levels that they're anticipating. Mm-hmm. And what happened in 1999 was a really big gamble. They basically said, we're going to forecast 8.25% returns in perpetuity, which was simply not realistic, right? So we have a pension problem that may be one of the biggest problems facing California, $60 to $100 billion unfunded pension liability. So what I've said we have to do about that is we've got to take the retirement age from 55 to 65 of most of the government workers, not public safety, but 55 to 65. We have to increase the length of vesting periods. The contribution from employees is going to have to go up. Today it's about 5% of salary. I think it needs to go to 10%. And then new employees are going to have to come in under a different deal. I think the era of a defined benefit program is over relative to a defined contribution plan. Cold, hard truth is we have a government we can no longer afford. And here's the look that every Californian needs to understand. Today, revenues in the general fund are about $85 billion. The last time they were $85 billion was in 2004, 2005. And so the first question I asked was, how many people did we have working in the state 5 years ago? And the answer is 40,000 fewer. And we actually should be able to do more with less. If we utilize technology to improve productivity, to find fraud, to make things run more efficiently, frankly, we ought to be able to do less, do more than 40,000. But let's go back to where we were. And that's going to have to be in every department, in every area. And if there are some areas that we simply can't go back to where we were, then we have to find savings in other areas. Because, you know what, we have got to have a different approach here. The truth is, you can't take in less than you spend. And that's what we've been doing.